Welcome, everyone. So today we're going to be looking and using equanimity and compassion in application effectively to the daily stress or chaos of the world. And I want to start by just letting you know this is teaching that's from my newest book, which will be out in mid-March, called Liberating the Self, Transforming Dysfunction into Authenticity. So to start talking about equanimity and compassion, we first need to start at the source. The source of all creation and manifestation, we use the term in the Zen tradition, the absolute, meaning absolute truth or absolute reality. The absolute, as I present it from my experience and from working with students for the last almost 20 years, is that it has two primary functions. The manifest is characterized visually as a brightness, a brilliancy, like a bright white. And the characteristics that it has are pure awareness, which is awareness without concept. So it's direct awareness.
Recording in progress.
It's direct awareness without reflection or comparison to our history. Also, there's pure presence. This is the beingness quality of the absolute, the here-ness, the now-ness of it, the immediacy of it. And then it has pure love. And the pure love is an objective love. So it's not a transactional love the way that among humans we experience love. If you're my friend or if you're someone I'm in a relationship with, then there's love for you. If you're someone I don't know, then there's not. So this is a love that flows freely to all of us. There's no qualification. We don't need to earn it. And nothing we've ever done will prevent us from making contact with this love. The other function of the absolute is the unmanifest. And that's characterized visually as a darkness, incredible darkness that we would call black. And it has its primary qualities are absence, what traditionally is called emptiness in Buddhism, also peace, deep, magnificent peace, and profound stillness. This is a stillness that underlies both silence and noise, or silence and activity. So that's the underlying. And the source of the absolute I characterize the source of the absolute is the experience of cessation. Cessation is a necessary component for awakening in the Theravada school. Cessation is the ceasing of all mentality and materiality. It's a dreamless sleep, complete blackness, but it's a combination, cessation's a combination of absence, emptiness, peace, and stillness. So when we contact cessation, when awareness and consciousness contact cessation, it's very, very pleasant. It feels very soothing and inviting. And we're drawn into it. It feels like a tractor beam when we get close to it. And it will pull awareness and consciousness into cessation. So the primary practices we'll be doing today are upekkha, which is the Pali term for equanimity. And then also we'll use karuna, which is the Pali term for compassion. So equanimity, upekkha, is about deep acceptance. People often think of it as having some kind of peaceful neutrality. That's the effect of equanimity, but equanimity is acceptance. As humans, most of our suffering is tied to our resistances. So when we have an event happen and we don't want the event or we want it to be different, we resist the moment we're in. And this is what keeps us from resting in upekkha. Upekkha, equanimity, is a quality of the pure love of the Absolute, as is karuna, compassion. So these are not human emotions or qualities we need to manufacture in any way. They're always here. Because they're a function of the Absolute, they're without condition, they're without birth and death. That means they're always present, always have been, always will be. So that gives us some comfort that we're not having to create these, we're simply tuning into what's already here. One of the ways I talk about using upekkha, equanimity, in daily life is, imagine if I handed you a remote control that controlled time. You could pause, rewind, or fast forward. Any time in your life that you would reach for that remote, meaning you want to change the moment you're in, that's a moment where you're experiencing some resistance. There's something about the moment you don't want. I want it to be different in some other way. So part of the practice, this is an off-the-cushion practice of upekkha, we silently simply repeat acceptance, acceptance, acceptance. And that allows us to settle and open to the fullness of the moment. When we work with compassion, karuna is often taught that it removes or takes away suffering, or what we call dukkha in Theravada Buddhism. Dukkha simply means dissatisfactoriness, when we're dissatisfied with this moment or this experience. The Buddha often talked about this as the two arrows. The first arrow is the actual event that's taking place, and the second arrow is the judgment, the commentary, the reaction to the first arrow or the precipitous event. Examples of a second arrow would be something like, I don't deserve this. Another would be, this always happens to me. And a third might be, why me? So you can see it's looking at the event and taking it as something unwanted is being thrust upon us, rather than this is what's happening. So compassion doesn't take away suffering. It doesn't remove suffering. What it does when we are intimate with our discomfort is it invites the tender, loving support of compassion, of the Absolute, to hold the situation, to hold us, to let us be more tender in this moment, to let us meet the moment more fully. Because for most of us humans, our most important life lessons were learned when we, in my language, ran headfirst into a brick wall. And I can say as a parent, there were times when I tried to soften or prevent my children from running headfirst into the brick wall of life. And what I discovered was the times that I was successful preventing them from this, what I could see as a tragedy, they found another way to run and hit that wall because they needed that life lesson. And if you look at your life, a lot of the important life lessons you've experienced were ones where you were absolutely hitting that brick wall head first, and you learned not to do it again. So part of what compassion affords us is the ability to be with whatever is neutral or unpleasant in our life. The events that we find to be pleasurable, we don't have any problem staying close to those. But things that are neutral, really, we care, we don't care, it's interesting, not interesting, we can tend to minimize or want to reject those. And of course, the situations we don't like or that don't benefit us. So what we'll do today is I want to go through some of the areas in today's world that create disturbance, that create dukkha in humans. And we're going to move into the felt sense. So I'm going to guide you through feeling your discomfort around some of these issues in life. And we're going to stay with the discomfort until we can move in time slightly before the discomfort to the vulnerability that was activated. And this is important because the vulnerability is what triggers our automatic responses, where we go into denial, we go into whatever strategy we have to get around the discomfort of whatever we're experiencing. And by being with the vulnerability openly, so we're meeting it with acceptance, equanimity, and we're meeting it with the tenderness of the absolute. And that is going to let us make contact with and open to steeping in the absolute itself. So we'll be able to make contact with the qualities that are authentic rather than the emotions that are mimicking the absolute. So, for example, when we feel powerless, I don't have any power to change or affect whatever's going on here, we often will turn in a reaction towards extreme anger or hatred. We want to eliminate whatever the causation is, whether it's a person or an event, we want them gone. And conversely, if we're working with something like our anger, our unhappiness at what's going on, that can open us to the vulnerability of weakness. And through the vulnerability of weakness, that can open into the absolute, into the quality of strength, authentic strength. So we're going to work with these, and I'm just going to do what I call a guided meditation. So the way to work with these is just, we'll start the meditation and just let me guide you. You don't have to see, hear, or feel what I'm describing. What I'm describing is what I'm perceiving in our field. So it's here. And just let yourself be impacted by what I'm talking about or naming in our field. And just let yourself, imagine you're in a drift boat and I've got the rope on shore. I'm just walking your boat down the shore along this stream. Just let yourself relax in the boat and let me do the work, and then we'll see what happens. So start by taking some deep belly breaths, really filling your lungs, abdomen, all the way down to genitals. I include the genitals because in spiritual practice we need to include all of us. And often as spiritual practitioners, we tend to not touch into the genital area. It's sort of forbidden. So it's important that we include all of us in these deep breaths to start our meditation. So really let yourself deeply relax into your seat. Fully accepting all activity that's happening in body and mind. Again, acceptance. It's not important what's here, it's important we accept what's here. So start by bringing awareness to the hara. This is one of the chakras from the yogic tradition, about 2 finger widths below the navel and 2 or 3 finger widths in from the surface of the skin. This is a natural grounding spot in our body. The hara tends to be non-conceptual, so we can sit in a place of deeper silence. If you can, breathe in and out of the hara, feeling that inner seat, the here-ness of the hara. On the next in-breath, invite awareness into the heart area. By that I mean the chest cavity itself. And we're going to be inviting upekkha equanimity by silently repeating acceptance. Acceptance. With the intention to accept everything that's occurring in our perception, awareness, or experience. We're not filtering, we're not creating a hierarchy, we're simply welcoming, accepting whatever's here. You might feel a little tenderness in your heart area, a supple softness, a willingness to receive. Breathe into the heart area, feeling that deep, unqualified acceptance. Acceptance. On the next in-breath, invite awareness to the center of the forehead. This is called the wisdom eye in Theravada Buddhism, the Dharma eye in the Zen tradition. And this is an important organ of perception. For those of you who have inner sight in your meditation, this is the source, the function of that inner sight. The wisdom eye also cultivates and lets us develop deeper intuitive wisdom and understanding. If possible, breathe in and out of the wisdom eye. You may be feeling some energetic movement. Some people can feel a pressure like a thumb pressing on their forehead. For others, it may be a kind of swirling energy. Others report a sense of something like an eyelid fluttering to open. Or you may be experiencing nothing at all. Any of these are just fine. Really surrender to this practice. Soften any resistance. Put aside any objections or qualifications. Bring your wholeness, your wholesomeness to this practice. On the next in-breath, invite awareness to the top of the head, the crown chakra. The crown chakra is another chakra in the yogic system. This is a very important portal or doorway. In the practices of Theravada Buddhism, when we practice what are called the formless jhanas or formless absorptions, awareness and consciousness enter and exit through the crown chakra. These formless jhanas are referred to as realms, And that's the experience of them, is that we journey to another realm. We can also receive downloads of information from the Absolute through the crown chakra. So breathe in to the crown chakra, feeling an important portal. Some people report a kind of pressure or energy phenomenon. If that's here, just accept it. If you're not feeling anything, just accept that. Now maintaining this smooth state of mind, recall a recent memory where the events of the world were troubling or disturbing to you. For some people, it's issues around social justice. Others have passion around climate change, or perhaps another area snags you. So recall a memory when you had a strong reaction, a negative reaction to some event in the world. Sense into your heart area. Feel the discomfort, the tension, the upset, the rejection. I don't want this. This is wrong. Whatever judgment you have, feel the judgment. Feel deeply how painful it is to hold this rejection. Notice in your reaction, is there anger? If they were here, I'd want to punch them in the arms, step on their toes. I wouldn't mind watching them trip and fall. That would be okay with me. That's what anger looks like. And hatred is, I wish they were vaporized off the planet. I wish they didn't exist. Hatred can be hot. I want to break something. Hatred can be cold, like the assassin. So feel into what's here for you, your reaction. It's okay if it's hatred. All humans experience hatred from time to time. Don't get caught up in a spiritual ideal. That's how we get into spiritual bypass. So feel the anger, feel the hatred. Feel that energy, the potency. You can tell with anger, you feel a kind of strength. You got more power in your arms and legs. And with hatred, there's just that, it's done. It's over. Now move a little forward in time to your reaction to this world event and feel the vulnerability when you first were exposed to that information. The first reaction, oh no. Feel the loss, the confusion, the uncertainty. Feel the fear. Notice where in your body you're feeling these emotions or sensations. You might feel a weakness like ice water in your arms and legs. You may feel weak, crushed, even hopeless in being with the vulnerability. But stay with it. Stay with, I don't know what to do. I'm lost. Now, while feeling this vulnerability, start silently repeating acceptance, acceptance, acceptance. Just keep repeating acceptance as you stay with the vulnerability. Acceptance. This is what's here. If you're feeling that ice water in your arms and legs, a sign of fear, acceptance. If you're feeling a heaviness in the pit of your stomach, acceptance. If you're feeling confusion, acceptance. This brings us more fully into this moment. Acceptance. Now shift your attention slightly to the discomfort, the suffering of vulnerability. I don't like feeling vulnerable. I don't like feeling exposed. I don't like sharing my confusion with others. Feel the pain, the suffering of all that, and more. Don't turn away, just accept the suffering, the discomfort, the unease. You may feel in your experience a slight bit of tenderness, kind of supple tenderness in our field. tenderly supporting, embracing this moment of vulnerability, of reactivity, of confusion. So once again, acceptance of the appearance of compassion, helping to tenderly hold our vulnerability. Stay with the vulnerability with deep acceptance and the loving tenderness of the Absolute. Those of you with inner sight may be noticing the vast blackness opening in our field. The deepest, richest blackness you've ever seen or witnessed. And smooth. If you could run your fingers over the blackness, it would feel smooth like black velvet, soft and inviting, welcoming. And with the black vastness, you may be noticing the quality of absence or emptiness. We might call it no thingness. There's nothing here. But somehow there's a something too. So feel that absence, that open, vast, void nothingness. Relax into the black nothingness. Opening, letting awareness reach deeply into the black vastness. You may be noticing the quality of stillness that's here. A profound stillness. For some of you, you may be noticing a ringing in your ears. That's one of the signs of the stillness. You don't have to have the ringing in your ears, but I want to normalize it for those of you who are experiencing that. Relax into the peace, the profound peace, stillness, the black absence. Notice the peace that's here. A deep, soothing peace. Everything that peace meets becomes peaceful. Let the peace, stillness, and absence meet your vulnerability if they haven't already. Notice how, with vulnerability, there's an openness, a willingness to receive. Relax trying to control your experience. Let yourself surrender to the black vastness, the deep peace, the void of absence, and the profound stillness. See if you can feel how my words come from stillness and return to stillness. Relax any effort a little more. Let yourself surrender, control. Just be right here. Let awareness be drawn a little deeper and deeper still. Surrender into the deep peace, the vast emptiness and stillness. Letting go. Letting yourself be carried deep into the absolute. You may find your mind is quieting. Thoughts are getting quieter. There might be space between thoughts of rich silence, stillness. You may not know exactly who you are in this moment, and that's fine. Just be the awareness, making contact and experiencing. Feel how the peace and stillness are drawing awareness and consciousness deeper into the black void, the nothingness. Let awareness be drawn deeper still. Feeling the potency of peace and stillness together. Peace, stillness, and absence are the power of the Absolute, the force of all creation and manifestation begins deeply in nothing. This nothing we call cessation. It's the embracing and welcoming of all perception, of all reality, material and mental, ceases, stops. Feel the potency of that potential. The unlimited power. This potency has created universes, we'll now sit in silence together for about 15 minutes and then I'll ring the bell. Before I ring the bell, I want you from the place of this immense vastness, deep peace, profound stillness, to let the issue, the triggering issue that you encountered early in our practice today, bring that forth. See what it's like for that issue to arise from this vast, peaceful place. Notice what, if any, reactivity there is in your body. Notice how you're less reactive. You can still see the issue or the problem, but you're not overwhelmed by your vulnerability. You can feel the stability and the power of resting in the absolute and meeting a difficult event of the world. Coming from this place of authentic power, we're not coming from deficit. We're coming from more of a completeness, a wholeness. We can see more options, and we don't have to carry as much stress. If you're in touch with authentic power of the absolute, let that land in your experience. Feel it fully. Feel it throughout your body. Feel the great capacity it affords.